Hello everybody, welcome back from the coffee break. I think we're still missing a few people. I'm sure they'll be coming in within the next couple of minutes. I'm, for people who haven't met me, I'm Andrew Cranfield. I'm the new director at EBLIDA. And I will be your host. I think I will be your moderator until a bit later in the afternoon. The next point on our agenda is to talk about strategy and the strategy of two major European library associations, IFLA and EBLIDA. But I'm also going to need your help during this session because, as we wrote in the program, we want a lively discussion. And one of my colleagues said, "But they're librarians, Andrew." And I said, "I'm a librarian. I'm sure we can get some lively discussions." So please, we'll start out with having a conversation up here, but I really hope that we can get a lively discussion going in the whole room here. And I realize it's a big auditorium, so it's always a little bit difficult. It's not quite as cozy as it sometimes can be, but please feel free to come with reflections, questions, interventions, and we will also have a microphone so we make sure that everybody can be heard. But first of all, I'd like to invite Erna, the president of EBLIDA, and Kirsten Boelt from the IFLA governing board to join me up here. Let's give them a hand. And we all have some nice handheld microphones here. Yeah, so welcome to both of you. I think there's probably many people in the room here know that both organizations have presented strategies in the recent months, or actually for EBLIDA yesterday, for our organizations looking forward. So that is really what we want to discuss here today. What's behind these strategies, what's the thinking, and how do we see the coming years ahead. But I've asked both Kirsten and Erna to just present quite shortly, sort of 5 minutes, about the respective strategies, and what's the thinking behind, what's the thinking behind, and how do we think the organizations looking ahead are going to use these strategies. So Kirsten, can I start with you? And maybe, yes. I don't know if you just want to say just a few words about yourselves also for if there are people in the audience who don't know you.
Yes, thank you. I'm Kirsten Boelt and I'm from Denmark, and I am a governing board member. I've been that since 2021. And I have been engaged in IFLA for quite many years before that. And now I am a retired library director from Aalborg in Denmark. So now I have plenty of time to work within IFLA. And I'm very happy to be on the stage as an IFLA representative together with EBLIDA, because I think it's so important that we get together and we talk together. So this is a great opportunity. So thank you very much for inviting IFLA. And yes, I shall talk about our new strategy. It was launched in Brisbane last September during the Information Summit. And it will range from 24 to 29, almost to the end of the United Nations 2030 agenda. And of course, we are inspired of the goals in there also. And when we started to develop the strategy, we were very eager and very keen on engaging the members. So we actually had a lot of, what do we call it, pulse surveys, yes. So we engaged a lot of members, and actually there are more than 60 groups, sections, working within IFLA. So we really wanted to engage them in our plans. And all this led to a new and clear vision that really underlines the strong role we see libraries are having all over the world. And the vision is sustainable futures for all through knowledge and information. And taking this as a goal, it then tells the story about how the global library field as a whole can make this vision happen, and in turn how IFLA as an international organization for libraries can enable and also animate the field. And before going to the impact areas in the strategy, I want to talk a little about the values we have in IFLA. And of course, the first principle is the principle of freedom of access to information, ideas, and work of imagination, and freedom of expression. It's a value we have had almost always, of course. And also the belief that people, communities, and organizations need universal and equal access to information, ideas, and so on, for their own educational, cultural, democratic, and economic well-being. And also the conviction that delivery of high-quality library and information services help to guarantee this access. And lastly, we also have the commitment to promote and value diversity and inclusion in any context, and actively pursue relevant policies and practices in this area. The strategy also addresses the reason for working internationally, as IFLA is an international organization, or rather federation. We are founded on the belief that international collaboration between library associations, libraries, and information professionals can achieve more together than apart. And libraries can best support users in a global information environment through practical cooperation. IFLA facilitates this by structures and tools that make collaboration not maybe simple, but at least simpler. And now the 3 impact areas. The first one is libraries are connected and energized through a vibrant global professional community or communities. And it's crucial for IFLA's ability to make change happen in the community of members and volunteers. And here is IFLA uniquely placed as the global organization for libraries to provide a space and support for global exchange, for learning and inspiration, as well as development of relevant standards and also guidelines. It means, for example, to enable dynamic and high-performing volunteer groups, develop active and engaged communities of practice, and uphold and create world-class standards and guidelines. The second impact area. Libraries are recognized, represented, and valued as partners. The potential of libraries to change society can only be realized if we can secure the laws and the resources that libraries need through effective advocacy and partnership building. This requires coordinated work at all levels to demonstrate libraries' contributions to build support and define paths forward, from global spaces to local communities. We also need to be responsive and reliable partners, able to speak the language of other stakeholders. And we must be a platform for reflection on how to uphold and promote libraries' values in this very changing world. So we have to build a voice, a profile, and influence in relevant international policy spaces, identify and develop partnership strategies, make strategies with others, of course in line with our own, and maybe achieve shared goals. I'm soon finished. I only need one impact area. Well, the last impact area number 3. libraries are enabled to deliver change at all levels. While each library focuses on the needs of the individuals and the communities they serve, collectively we have a unique potential to drive systematic change in the areas in which we work. To do this, we need the ability in all parts of the world to support ongoing learning and to design, deliver, and evaluate projects, programs, and initiatives which make a positive difference in the future. And IFLA can support this. And to achieve this, IFLA must develop regional structures which can both articulate global priorities at their level and build high-impact programs, develop training, and, for example, give emerging leaders opportunities to develop skills and profile. And to achieve all this, to work with our vision together with the global library field, we also have to future-proof IFLA as a federation. And IFLA needs to focus continually on how we can carry out our mission most effectively. Through this, we can achieve a virtuous circle, attracting new members, expert volunteers, and great partners who in turn enable us to be even better to achieve our goal and deliver progress through libraries. It also means that IFLA must have an effective and transparent governance structure and give all parts of our community a voice, and continue to invest in headquarter teams so they can respond to the community and respond to the needs in the community and build for the future. And lastly, I only have this hard copy of the strategy, and if you look into it, you of course can read about the impact areas, but I don't think you can see anything of this, but it also shows which outcomes we want of this new strategy, and how can we measure our successes, or rather, if we do succeed. So that was my introduction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kirsten. Excellent. So over to you, Erna, with the EBLIDA strategy, which is, as we said, new off the press.
Yes, it's very, very new, accepted and approved by the members yesterday, so it's hot off the press, like you said. Just to introduce myself, my name is Erna Winters. I'm the president of EBLIDA, elected last year, and my daily job is network manager for the public libraries at the KB National Library of the Netherlands. And within the Netherlands, we have this system of the 3 layers of government: ministry, provinces, and municipalities, and 3 layers of library systems: the KB National Library, provincial service organizations for libraries, and the VOB as the association that represents the libraries. And we work together on 3 big societal challenges, and my job is sort of to get everyone on the table to make progress on these societal challenges. That's for introduction of myself. The vision that was accepted yesterday is that EBLIDA supports democratic, equitable and sustainable European societies where libraries ensure free and unhindered access to information, knowledge and culture. I think I will be sort of repeating a lot of what you have been said in Kirsten, but of course we're both library organizations, so it would be very strange if we would have quite different views on things, but well, you never know. The values that we work from as EBLIDA are democracy, legitimacy, and community. To sort of elaborate a bit on democracy, we are, as EBLIDA, a democratic organization, and we uphold transparency and we embrace plurality, because we come from all parts of Europe and we all have different backgrounds, but we share the same values when it comes to looking at libraries. As legitimacy, we have the position to advocate and lobby for libraries on European level, and so we are the voice of our members and stakeholders all across Europe. And it's not only with the European government, but also with, for instance, other stakeholders like publishers that we and writer associations. So we have a broad field of partners that we speak with, and the community. We really believe that there is the library. The libraries form a very strong community, but we also think that it's good to engage an interaction with our members, for instance, through these kind of conferences. So how do we fulfill our strategy? By advocacy, I already mentioned that. We really want to influence policies, work together on talking to politicians on a European level, but also supporting a national library association with examples of successful advocacy in other countries on a European level that they can take to their own country. And that's with sharing this knowledge of what we do. It's also on the international engagement. We facilitate the knowledge sharing on EU legislation and issues that are taking place or are relevant, and we participate also in EU-funded projects that will help libraries to expand and improve their services. We also, one of the other things in our strategy that we believe in sustainable development and digital transformation. I think, well, looking at the theme of this conference, I think it's very clear that a digital transformation is upon us and we can't deny it, but we really have to think about how do we adopt and adapt to the digital transformation. So we believe that it's good to promote and support the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but also to help associations in supporting libraries on facing the digital challenges and sharing the knowledge that we have amongst ourselves. And last in the strategy is the capacity building on literacy promotion. Well, reading is a very important skill that we need, but also lifelong learning, media literacy. I think these are things that need to be available for everyone and to have the skills to be able to participate as patron or as citizen in your country, to have influence on your democracy and your democratic rights. I think the last thing I would like to mention is that we have a big project that started last year. We managed to get a big project approved by the Council of Europe, I think it was, Elan. The Commission, sorry, and we are starting research on how we can strengthen our network of libraries, and we have 5 topics that we address here in big surveys: advocacy for library professionals, library for the people, libraries for the planet, libraries for co-creative and partnership with on cultural diplomacy for non-EU but European neighboring countries, and libraries for digital transformation.
Thank you both for very solid presentations of our strategies. I think both strategies have attempted and tried to engage with the stakeholders, the members. So maybe you could say a little bit about that. You mentioned the surveys, but say maybe a little bit how we've done it, or how the organizations have done it, why you've done it, and were there any surprises along the way? Erna, do you want to?
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, what we did, the members of the EC, the executive board, they all, we started a working group last year, November, and then we decided that we would interview each of the members of the EC, 2 or 3 full members, so associate member, no, sorry, full members, so associations, on what their view was of the last strategy and what their view was on Elan. So there were between 20 and 30 full members already interviewed. And then we had 2 online meetings with all of our members, so also the associate members. Individual libraries could reflect on what they thought of the strategy. We made an analysis of that, and then we presented a strategy to the executive board. We made some alterations, then we presented that text to the members so they could also give their feedback on that. So we did that early this year, and then we took in some of the recommendations that had been made, suggestions, and so finally we presented it yesterday, and it was fully approved.
Thank you, Erna. Kirsten?
It sounds very good. When we started to develop the new strategy, we were very aware of we wanted a strategy with a deep connection between strategy and actions. And when we started out, we also were very concerned that we will make a strategy based on input from the members. So we made these pulse surveys. First we had 4, then we, after that, we had some analyses of these, and then we took it into the governing board, and we had a workshop on all the input. And after that, we actually had more surveys, and we also had some town hall meetings where members could sign up, be part of a meeting, a digital meeting, of course, and meet some of the governing board members and come with more comments, more inputs, and well, we had a very, very good discussion. And after that, we made a draft of the strategy, and then it also was published in the IFLA website, so you could comment on the draft. And finally, then we had this strategy to launch in Brisbane last September. And I'm very happy to see that we had more than 1,200 comments from members. Members were really engaged and wanted to give us in the governing board something to work with on this strategy. So we also had some, I think there were 10 pathways we should use, and some of them was, as I said, make a stronger connection between vision and actions. And the vision should be adaptable and adoptable by members, volunteers, and librarians all over, everywhere. And also we wanted to make a strategy which was more responsive in this very, very uncertain world. So one of the things brought up also was how can we bring librarians and libraries, how can they contribute to human development and resilience? So it was very, very solid discussions we had, and I really hope and we aim that this strategy is relevant for people and for regions. And of course, when I say people and regions, I mean the community of the global library workers. Yeah.
Yes, and you said relevance, which I think is obviously a strategy has to be relevant, but I think both of you are aware that we represent, or both organizations represent a multitude of stakeholders, if not probably even more. So can you just add a few comments? Were there surprises or inputs that go in different directions? And when you're doing a strategy where you have to be aware that there's a multi-stakeholders, How do you work with that? I'm thinking maybe it's even more prevalent for an organization like IFLA, but I think also in our work with EBLIDA, we see different priorities. And how do you make that work in a strategy so everybody can see themselves in it, we accept the differences, and then we go forward? What kind of discussions could be included there?
It's not easy, I'll say, but when we in the governing board, we also have a member from the management of library associations section. So I think we get some strong inputs from a broad variety of our stakeholders, of our members. That way. But I also think that when we make the strategy, it's a framework, it's a structure in which I hope the section and the library professionals can sort of clinch on and see, oh, yes, this is very a direction for the work in the section for reading and literacy, for example. So we cannot be specific, but we have to point out a direction, and we have to also have actions in which you can see it fits for me. So, well, it's not very simple, but I think we can have an overall framework, as I say, so in which we can have different actions. For example, also when we have our advisory committees, you have one on copyright and legal matters, you have one on freedom of expression and so on, and you can see, well, what they are doing, it really relates to the strategy, and it has a deep and relevant meaning for my work in the association and in the libraries.
Yeah, I think no real surprises, but more of an acknowledgement that we do share the same values, but we come from different financial situations that we have to be very aware of as EBLIDA, that there are libraries that, and I don't mean to insult anyone, but have very poor funding from either their local or national government, and there are libraries that are very well funded. But we all want to achieve what is best for our communities, and the same goes for the associations, and we really have to take that into account. And for instance, some of our members are very good at getting hold of infrastructural funding, and but it's not one size fits all for these funding, but to learn from each other and to share that knowledge, I think that's very important. So for me that was, and for instance, for some countries, the sustainable development goals are not very high on the political agenda, but for instance, digitization and the digital transformation are topics that play a very big role in every country, but some are moving very fast and moving ahead, and other ones are having difficulties. Well, like Mr. Jeppe Mørk said, well, some countries we are very successful with digitization and e-lending, and in some countries it's very, very difficult to even make the first step. So I think that's, the challenges are, well, sort of the same, but the focus might be slightly different per country, and I think that's something that we as EBLIDA should really take into account. Yeah.
I had a former colleague who loved to say every time we talked about strategy, oh, well, culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's a quote you probably may have heard before. When you're, I think, working with the development of strategy and talking to your communities, so short answers now, talking to your communities, how do you think that the culture, the community of both organizations, is that changing? Are we engaging better with it as the boards and the headquarters? Is there some changes there that you've noticed? And then we'll go to the floor for questions.
Yeah. I think we have we have in the governing board been much better to recognize that we have to have a dialogue with our members. We have to tell our members what we are working with. Now I know the president is launching monthly newsletters, and we really must have dialogue with members. We must give our members a voice so they can be heard within the IFLA organization. So there is a change. I think there are more engagement from the members, from the associations, and it's very welcome because we get a lot of good information and good input from our members, and I think it's our obligation to remember we are a federation of library associations, so we have to listen and we have to discuss with our members, and that I think that is a difference from former days.
I think there's always something to be learned and to be gained and to be improved, but I think EBLIDA is trying through, for instance, the director yourself or Mikkel before you, really reaching out to, and Giuseppe before that, reaching out to the members, going when invited to speak and to have contact. And I think that's really important. It's all about, I mean, these conferences are really good, and what happens, when do you have the best discussion? Is over coffee break or over dinner. And I think that's really important to have the person-to-person discussions. So I think these are the key elements of having the voice heard by those who are able to take it home and to implement it into the strategy and make it work. Yes, we do have a newsletter, but I think it's working on projects together. I think that's the way to move forward and to have everyone's voice heard and to try and find each other on common ground.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you both. Right, I'd really like to open the floor to questions. I'll walk around with the microphone. So please, if you have questions or reflections, or would like to comment on maybe about how your organizations have developed the strategy, either as sort of an answer or a complementary answer to our two speakers. I thought, Celia? Maybe if you just say your name and from which organization you're coming from, that would be great.
Hi, my name is Zélia Parreira. I'm from Portugal, and I'm also a member of the executive committee of EBLIDA. So my question is a trick because it's essentially destined to IFLA, because about EBLIDA I already know the answer. Okay. So the question is, nowadays people, librarians and libraries and associations have two different organizations working in Europe to improve libraries and to give guidance and orientations. What's the meaning of having two organizations? How are you thinking of working together? What is the difference between the two? Because people ask me this question a lot, so I'm being the voice of many people. I know the answer from EBLIDA, that's what I try to tell them, but I would like to hear the position of IFLA. If you want to hear from EBLIDA, I'm available. Erna, Andrew, and we also, Erna could answer, of course, but, well, I must confess that I already know the answer, okay? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. It's a very obvious question to ask today, of course. And I guess you know that IFLA has this new structure starting in 21, and we have a regional structure. So we have divisions in many regions of the world, and it would be awkward or strange if we would leave out Europe. So we have an European division too, and I think it's very important that we recognize that we have several European library organizations. We have LIBA, we have Spark Europe, we have Neighbors, we have EBLIDA, and we have one internationally, or rather global, federation called IFLA. So we have to work together, we have to have a common project. I think the manifesto is just fabulous. And actually I see it as a great ecosystem, because we have so many engaged people, we have so many library associations and library professionals working together to strengthen libraries within Europe. So the most important thing for me is that we collaborate, we work together, we may have common projects, but the most important thing is that we do not step on each other's toes, but we accept we have different goals in a way, but very similar anyway, and we supplement each other. That's my position on this.
Thank you, Kirsten.
I'm Elisabeth Rundqvist from the National Library of Sweden, a NAPL member. Both strategies have open science within it, and so far IFLA has whatever the group is called, but there is a group working with open science, and in Sweden, we try to take open science as a very broad thing for libraries, not only the research libraries, but also the public libraries. So I'd really like to hear from EBLIDA, what's your next steps for open science? I'm sorry, Erna. I know I made the proposal for you.
To be quite honest, Elizabeth, it is in our strategy, and what we want to do is, if I remember correctly, it's in the survey for ELAN, so it's about the digital transformation. So, and we hope to get from the survey some answers what is needed for the libraries to take a further step. And open science, of course, it's across borders, but it's very difficult topic, as you probably know. So we'll be first waiting sort of for the answers of the survey, and of course in the meantime, if some great experience or great projects turn up that we can contribute to, we're more than willing to step in, but and to share the knowledge within our members. But right now, the big thing that we are putting all the efforts of the staff in is ELAN, and having the surveys ready and work from the analysis and the answers that we get from that.
Can I comment?
Yeah, yes.
Because I think it's a great example. And within IFLA we have this group, and it's called Open Science and Scholarship. And we are also engaged in the KR21 Knowledge Right Program 21. So IFLA is working together with LIBA and Spark Europe, and maybe others, I'm not sure. But we are working hard on this topic. And of course, EBLIDA, you should work on it too, but of course we'll be very happy to share whatever findings we get, and how we are able to maybe be better to secure open access also to digital content. So we'll work together on that.
I think that's an invitation we can, well, we are working together, but yes, it's good, very good. It's an invitation not to be pushed aside, so that's really great. Thank you.
Giuseppe Vitiello, Rete Le Reti Italy. This is a question to IFLA, to Kirsten. I really would like to congratulate IFLA for their communication policy. I mean, we have seen, I don't know, I have seen perhaps an enormous, tremendous improvement in direct communication with the IFLA members. There is something, however, which remains to me a little bit confused. Do you remember the famous Kissinger quote, if I have to call the European Union, what is the telephone number? Exactly, in IFLA, what I find still a little bit confusing is that I do not have a central email address, because from time to time I would like to intervene into this frequent and very interesting conversation, and almost daily conversation, but I do not know how to do that.
I'm not sure I quite understand. You need a better, a stronger possibility to contact each member of the governing board, or I'm not.
No, imagine. I mean, you are from the perspective of the user, of the IFLA user.
Yeah.
Yes, you receive every night probably I don't know 5, 10 emails, and you read them all. They are all very, very interesting, and from time to time you would like to contribute. And but they are within committees, they are within sections, divisions, and so on. So really, how can we contribute this? What is the telephone number or the mail number?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. Stephen, I think maybe you can help me. I think we have the IFLA list, and you can contribute there, but well, I'm not sure. Please give Stephen the mic.
It's an open question whether having a Mrs. or Mr. IFLA is a good idea, and whether that could actually capture the full diversity of what's going on. I don't know, we have the ifla@ifla.org email address, which will normally get you sent through to somewhere. Otherwise, we do publish a lot of individual contact details about the different sections and everything on the website. I know we are looking to get better at how do we make sure that our individual committees, it's not just 20 people in a locked room, and there is a much more open line of communication between the committee, everyone who's actually registered to it, and the wider membership. That's something we're working on. But I encourage you, reach out to chairs, reach out to ifla@ifla.org.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Stephen. We are working on it.
Kristīne Deksne, National Library of Latvia. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for your strategies. I think it's very important for each professional to have those strategies from our professional organizations. Kirsten already mentioned something about evaluation, and I wanted to ask, of course, it's very nice to see those strategies, and my question is, are you measuring or evaluating afterward, when this period is finished, what is reached, how successful it has been, and what has been important, and so on, about the evaluation?
You go first? No, you go. Okay. I go first. What we do with EBLIDA, of course, we interviewed all the members on the last strategy, what they thought was good and what they thought wasn't good or could have been better. We sort of translate our strategy into annual work plans. So there we have specific topics mentioned. This is what we're going to work on this year. And then at the end of the year, there's the annual report where we state what we have achieved. So that's the way we work with EBLIDA.
In the strategy, you can see the wanted outcome of any of the impact area, and we have some indicators. And when I look at the strategy, we also have decided that the detailed evaluation framework containing targets where applicable and monitoring and measurement plan will be maintained and implemented by IFLA headquarters. We will provide a dashboard including outcome metrics and key performance indicators to allow tracking of the process. So yes, indeed, we must see the evaluation. How do we do? Are we succeeding or not? So yes, we will work hard on that. I cannot imagine that it will not be public.
Do we have any more questions or comments? Yes, over there. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Arne Gundersen from the National Library of Norway. I'd just like to follow up on the first question being raised here about two organizations. Could you just say a couple of words of how you are cooperating on European level?
I think that's something that we still have to discover and discuss with us. I think EBLIDA is a very strong advocacy organization. IFLA is not on a European level, and I think we don't want to dilute the message of the advocacy, so I think that's very important that we have further discussion on that. But I think we can also learn very much from each other, because you have the international experience on board, and we can take that, see what we can learn from that, of what does it mean on a European level. So I think these are the kind of discussions that we still need to take further. We've just only started. For instance, I now try to have around every 3 months to have a meeting with Sharon Memmes, the Secretary General of IFLA, and with Martine Pronk, who's the Director of LIBER, two of the very important organizations that we work together with on libraries. So I think, and they're both based in The Hague as EBLIDA. So that, and I work at the KB as well. So that's very convenient to have lunch or have a drink together, and you can discuss things that are playing, which are relevant at that time. So, but yeah, there's not much to be gained there, I have to confess.
Yeah, and I think we have to be aware of each other, and it's very good you work in The Hague, so you can have this continuous conversation with IFLA, with Sharon Memmes, our Secretary General. And I also think the manifesto we make together was very good. It's a starting point, and maybe we can work further on that, on how is it working in Europe, and which assessments do we get out of that. So I think we have a very good relationship, and we can work on that. And I also think this ELAN project, it's very good. I'm welcoming it very, very much. So, and also we have this section on library associations within IFLA. And I know Andrew has already talked to the chair of this section, and I'm sure we can learn from each other. We have different experiences, and we must use it. But as you say, Erna, we have to continue our conversation, and I'm sure we can find more points where we can work together. We can have projects and programs, I'm sure, but we have to find them.
Okay, I think we have room for one last question. Ilona, be brief.
Is that possible?
I did.
Yeah, you did say that, didn't you? I'd just like to outline the role that PL 2030 plays as a neutral convener here. We coordinated the manifesto work, we're leading on advocacy in Brussels, and I think that we can play an interesting role in helping the other organisations that you've mentioned collaborate more effectively. Thank you.
I can't agree with you more, Ilona. PL 2030 is based in Brussels, and You've done amazing work with contacting with the MEPs and really helpful. And so I think we can't applaud you enough for that. So thank you.
Just to echo you, Erna, I'm sorry I didn't mention PL 2030 because you are doing a tremendous job, and thank you for that.
And maybe also to mention that you are a very important member of the Elan project as well. We've had some great conversations on that. I think we'll continue to do that. Okay, I think we need to start to wrap up. I'm going to put you on the spot. I want you to imagine that you've left the library here, you're crossing the bridge, and a reporter from a local newspaper in Riga comes up with the microphone, and you know you will not now have 5 to 10 minutes to present the strategy. And she says to you, what's the most important thing in the new strategy? And you have 5 seconds to answer. Kirsten?
It's all about libraries. It's all about libraries giving services to their community. And we can do that even better when we work together on the European level.
That's
and
the 5
also,
seconds.
And also on the global level. Thank you.
Erna, 5 seconds.
5 seconds. It's all about the community of that we serve as local libraries, but also the community of libraries.
Wonderful, and wonderful to hear those 2 strategies saying a lot of the same. Let's give a big hand for our wonderful president from EBLIDA, governing board member from IFLA, Kirsten. Thank you so much.